Dude, cheers, bro. Fuck. It's like you're not looking very good.
No.
Yeah, mint.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right, man. We're back after so long.
I know.
It's been a while.
Let's hit this shit rapid fire. I got some stuff. You got some stuff.
Okay, you go first because my stuff's written down.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. What's new?
Pope died.
Pope died.
That was crazy.
Yo, are you gonna be the new pope?
Definitely not.
But is that sacrilegious to say that?
Yes.
Technically, no.
I have no. Technically, yes, because like I'm not a cardinal, so it'd be like, what the fuck.
Yeah. Okay, but there's only one more spot for the cardinals left in the Vatican.
So yeah, that's there's more into that. So for anybody who's not informed, because there's been a lot of shit that's been out on social media ever since Pope Francis died, R.I.P.
Rip, bro.
Actually, pretty cool. The day he died was the day after Easter. Like he literally held out. He even did like Easter service on Sunday.
From the little
he
balcony.
literally held out. He's like, and then the next day he's like, all right, I'm done. I'm out.
All right, I'm out.
So what they do is something called a conclave, is where they bring all these cardinals from around the world, about 130, I think, of them, and they all literally get sealed inside the Vatican. They can't leave. They have no access to any outside information, and they have to vote on a new pope, and it needs to be by like super majority.
Yeah.
So
What's supermajority? Define.
Supermajority is like 70%
Okay.
of all the cardinals that need to vote for one person.
Yeah.
What you do is they fill out these little papers, they just put a name down, put it in this thing, and then it gets read out one by one by one. And if you just you literally keep doing the ballots like over and over and over again until you finally get to supermajority. There are some front runners. There's a guy from Africa, a cardinal from Africa.
There's a guy from the Philippines.
Guy from the Philippines is a front runner.
Yeah.
Guy from Italy. Guy from Hungary. And I think one other guy from Italy. I think this was like two.
But traditionally, we've never had any black popes.
Not traditionally. Historically, there has never been a Pope Francis was the first pope from outside of Europe. Traditionally, they've always been from Italy. Yeah. Always. And then...
Where's Francis from?
Argentina.
Argentina. But yo, that's close enough.
In a way.
Culturally, it's pretty close.
I think the first non-Italian may have been, don't quote me on this, may have been... No, I don't think it was Benedict. It might have been Benedict, though. But anyways, even voting out someone outside of Europe was like a big deal. And then when they did Pope Francis, again, big deal. So if they go for a black pope, that'd be like... Or even Filipino pope, that'd be nuts.
People will black be like, pope, man, they'd be like... There's no more popes.
They would take us back to the Stone Ages, dog. It'd be like, no more homos, no more nothing.
No more nothing.
I mean...
What do you mean by that?
To be clear,
what do you mean by that?
The church never accepted homosexuals in the sense that they were allowed to be married. Like that's a complete no-no. Because like we go back to the Bible, it's like no, man cannot lie with man has to lie with a woman, and the union. Right. However, what Pope Francis did a few years ago was kind of controversial. He was like, everybody on this earth, doesn't matter what you are, deserves to have the blessing from God. That's it. Yeah. Like everyone, every person has the right to have a blessing. Homosexual, transgender, doesn't matter.
Yeah. Doesn't mean you're going to fucking heaven?
No. Some people took that to say like, oh, you're blessing the homosexual union. And the guy's like, hold on. That's not what I'm saying. Because that's unholy. Yeah. It's like, that's not happening. But the interesting thing about this Pope from Africa, he's very conservative. And he'd be like... You're not getting blessed if you're not a fucking straight person. Like if you're homo, you're not getting blessed. Like fuck all that. Yeah. So he would make it more less progressive, more conservative.
I think people don't understand. Minorities are more homophobic than whites. Like people from Europe are less homophobic than if you come to like Asia. You come take a trip with me, people are gonna call you fags and gay and shit away. Minorities
tend to be more conservative.
For sure.
Yeah, and we've seen that in a lot of stuff. But to end it off real quick, typically, we'll see how it goes because they do a mourning period after he dies, and after, then they start the conclave. So right now, everyone's actually already getting prepared to start this thing. But people are coming from all the fuck over, and you have to book off time because you don't know how long it's going to take. Could take a day, could take 3 weeks. So you as a cardinal need to like wrap up your affairs and be like, hey, I'm gonna be out for 3 weeks. Like, don't call me. Don't email me.
Don't call me.
Typically, how it goes is just like in politics, well, sort of, and I guess this will be a segue into what you're going to talk about. But after a progressive pope, usually goes back to a conservative pope.
Yeah.
Like it always corrects itself that way.
Interesting.
And if it's a conservative, it usually will be a progressive. Like that, it usually balances out that way. So if that's any inclination for the betting sites who have, there's like betting right now. So, that's why some of the front runners tend to be more the conservative ones. Like I said, the African, and there's like I think it's Erdo or Ergo. There's a cardinal who's like I think Hungarian, very conservative as well.
Yeah.
So
it's about time. Well,
I guess we'll see in
conservatives and liberals.
In a few weeks. In a few weeks, we'll find out.
Speaking of, your boy won.
He did it.
How happy are you?
Was it like my actual boy or like the guy I voted for?
No. Like the guy you voted for.
Oh, yeah. It honestly, it went how I thought it was going to go. The only thing that I wasn't sure of was if there was going to be a majority or not. And as we saw, no majority. Minority. There are three seats short of a majority. We talked about this in the weeks leading up to the election where we're like, listen, Poilievre had the bag.
Yeah, he dropped it.
He was like doing the layup.
Yeah.
And then Carney came up and like blocked by Jordan. Blocked by LeBron or whatever the fuck.
Or Epstein.
Yeah. But Poilievre's whole thing was, carbon tax is bad, Justin Trudeau is bad, and he's torn this country into pieces or whatever.
Right.
Carney comes in, so all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, you can't point to Trudeau's bad. He's fucking gone. And the first thing that Carney does on like his second day in office, removes the carbon tax. So now Poilievre's like, oh fuck, two things that he didn't think were going to happen happened in a month.
But did you hear the rest of what Carney said? How he's going to make up for the carbon tax?
No.
So essentially, what he's going to do, he's going to tax airfare more. He's going to tax transit more. He's going to tax public sector transit more. So basically, ticket prices are for that going to go up. Parking tickets, like even for like street parking or whatever, all these tolls are going to go up to make up for that. Carney is like the worst person Trump can deal with. But going back to what I was going to talk about is that Carney is he comes from a long line of. This guy went to Harvard. He went to Oxford.
Yeah.
He's heavily connected, which could work in our benefit. Does he have, an A-class track record? I've looked into when he was part of the Bank of England. They were going through Brexit. There was not much options there, but that's not a really good track record to have. The other interesting part of this is, so have you ever heard of Brookfield Assessment?
Yeah.
So he was part of that.
That's right.
And they have there's no correlation, but there is causation. So there's no direct influence of this guy being connected to Elon Musk or Donald Trump, but he was an investment manager head.
Yes. While
investing in Donald Trump's grandson, son-in-law, and Elon's Twitter. So there's $250 million Brookfield invested into that. Again, that's an investment. But again, these guys are connected. So
he comes from that world.
He comes from that world.
He does.
It's good and bad. And this is why I'm saying that's good and bad. Pierre doesn't, in the last 20 years, he hasn't passed a single bill at all.
Yep.
So, can it work? Can it not? It's like giving a guy a fucking keys to the building and being like, yo, build it.
Yeah.
You've never built one. You've been working for 20 years. You're still in that fucking foreman role.
Yeah.
You have no track record. And then it's like giving it to a guy who has that track record, but he might be a liability because he's such an elitist.
Yeah.
So it's like, what do you do? The problem I have with it is that we're so divided on this. And the real issue is that we don't really have an option. This goes back to a couple of weeks ago. We were talking about this. None of these guys are going to make me able to have more buying power. It's just, one, the system is rigged to start with. Two, none of these guys are going to really move the needle like that. There might be some transactionary things, trade agreements that are good. Like, for example, China's taking our oil now. So these are good things. People don't want to agree to it. I'm not I'm not on the fence on these guys. I don't want to be a part of being like called a conservative or liberal.
Yeah,
or whatever.
sure.
But if you want to say who is good is going to be good against Trump, I would say Carney. But that being said, the system here is fucked. I think the entire system of being like a state of Canada, it's not. We don't have the same rights. We don't have this. We have way more obligations than people in the States do. Yes, we have a healthcare system, but it's. I mean, dude, nobody points at Canada healthcare system as like premium. Like they're like long wait lines. It's free, but like everything's gonna take a long ass time. So just to wrap it up, I think temporarily it might be a real relief. I don't think long term any of these guys are going to move the needle, because end of the day, what is what? They all disagree on everything but Israel. They all support Israel. Every single one of them supports Israel. So it's like, if we're funding that, right? America's funding that. All these other, UK's funding that. Australia's funding that. It's like, who is the head of state here? It's not the states that we're fighting with. The states are having even a worse time. You got Ford and John Deere pulling out. Now Amazon is like, fuck you too.
Amazon's posting the tariffs on their when you go to like add an item to your cart. Do you see that shit?
But that's the move. What do? It's a business move, right? You post tariffs, I'm going to post it on my site.
Yeah.
Why are you butthurt about it?
Exactly. And I think that you touched on a couple interesting things. I'll only mention a few, just I guess in the interest of keeping it moving. But Carney comes in, and it might go one of two ways for him. He could just be like temporary substitute. It's like, yo, we need a sub in, and then he's out, and we will never hear from him again. Like he will never have like his legacy might just be that he tided us over for this whole Trump bullshit.
Bro,
for a
he's
couple
already
years.
in Europe.
And well, yeah, but that's for a couple other reasons.
See ya.
Or he could actually get, because he's not a politician, right? Like you can tell. Like I actually went to one of his rallies. You can tell that he doesn't have. He's not polished in that sense. Like
he's a Finn, bro.
When he gives a speech, he's not giving you like that. When you go to a politician, even though you know it's like a snake,
there's charm.
Yeah, like you're like fuck yeah, like, you're like you start feeling it. You get it. You're like, okay, you know what? I know you're lying to me, but you're doing it in a good way. Like you're kind of charming about it.
Who was the best in your opinion on that?
Oh, we haven't had many in Canada, honestly.
Hitler.
Oh, okay. What the fuck,
bro? The guy is.
You speak one lick. This guy speaks no German. He's like, I think it was Hitler.
No. Here, but man. Hold on,
Kennedy. If you want to go like
Kennedy
all the way
was
back,
good.
it's for sure. Like not even.
If
close.
we're trying to keep it fairly local,
old school, yeah, Kennedy.
But there was a couple good guys.
The issue with Hitler is that he was only a good wartime chancellor, like a wartime guy.
Front end. That's
no,
tough.
but like a wartime guy, it's like, okay, well,
wartime guys.
Churchill was good.
Yeah, but
Stalin was. All these guys, honestly, were premium. But they were only wartime guys.
But dude,
and the proof was in the winner.
Yeah,
Roosevelt was an awful president when the war was over. He didn't know his ass from his own head. Like he just. You know what I mean? Like he ended off badly. The only reason he got brought back on was because when the war started, they're like, hey, we need someone to like bring us through this like shit. And he's like, okay, fine, I'll be that guy. But as far as like when in peacetime, he was not a good one. So as far as like that sort of stuff, I'd say Kennedy, because there was no Cold War, but that's not like a real war. It's like fucking whatever.
Let's go on a tangent here.
Sure.
Bang for your buck. Placed. So you might not know this, or it might not be common knowledge from people, but America has placed and overthrown regimes and then put their own guy, and then their own guy has backfired. So, for example, Saddam, Gaddafi,
in South America, Pinochet,
Assad, all these guys, even Khomeini and Khamenei, they were from France. Fidel. Who would you say is bang for your buck, longevity king?
Of all the
plates that backfired to the States, off top of your head,
like who after it went to shit?
Putin wasn't placed by him. by the US.
Yeah, so of
he
all
can't
of all the
count.
people that got placed and like after it went to shit, who came out better, or like during their time, their premium?
Like
during
they kept that against America because America placed these guys, right? Like generally, right?
Okay.
The Western countries.
like give me your example, or give me your choice.
Okay. I would say longevity wise, it would have to be either a Fidel or it would have to be the Islamic Republic of Iran. Because why? 1979 to now, not even close. And this is the other thing. Strategically, they've made bonds in a way, like I'm not even trying to be nationalistic. I'm just saying as far as like just analytics. They made it in a way where if they get attacked, they own a significant amount of the world's oil. So fuck you. That's number one. Number two is they have bonds with Russia and China and North Korea where if they're attacked, other people will attack. You understand? It'll turn into World War III. And this is why, because if they were like another country like Afghanistan and Iraq, this would already be over.
Yeah.
It's not like that. There's a lot of bonds there. So I would say as far as bonding like that, Cuba, Fidel never had that.
No.
So I would say because of
they
that.
They had Russia, and that was it.
But that's not enough. Russia, its own GDP.
It was enough to basically they were the linchpin during the Cold War.
Yeah.
Like if it, you know what I mean, like they were there the whole
No,
time.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is they're not. If you go to Cuba, you've been to Cuba. I've been to Cuba.
I haven't
it's
been.
Not,
No,
you haven't been to Cuba.
My parents and I haven't.
In Cuba, it's so poor.
No,
you
yeah,
can,
no.
You can
Not at
trade
all.
clothes
Yeah.
for things.
Yeah.
You know, so it's not the best economy there. They have cars from the fucking 50s there working.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, power to them. But like, it's not like Iran. Iran, you'll walk down my hometown, you'll see a couple Lambos there. Like, it's just that's how they move, right? I think it would be Iran.
I think that's a pretty good choice. I can't think of one honestly that's
There's not a lot to pick from.
no, because that's why I asked you like, are you asking the question of like who had like the better peak? Because in that case, then it gets more interesting. They're like, okay, there's like a few.
Let's go with the better peak. What's the better peak?
The better peak of the U.S. installed people, honestly.
I'd say Saddam. Saddam's peak was legit.
Yeah, Saddam was pretty legit. I think Gaddafi was up there too.
Gaddafi was
'Cause,
legit.
Yeah, Gaddafi was up
He had
there.
a robe on.
Um,
He had a robe on for like 20 years. And they put a samurai sword up his ass. Did you hear the fucking autopsy?
No.
He had like a fucking slash mark in his asshole.
dude. No,
The size of like
I did not open that autopsy
a
report.
small Mongolian child.
That's nuts.
Anyways.
And the last thing I was going to say, circling back to this election thing,
yeah.
it remains to be seen what can happen. But like you said, doesn't really matter who's in it. It's a pretty fucked up situation.
Yeah.
Canada's a small player at the end of the day.
Very small.
As far as it goes going against America, we're tiny.
GDP.
We know that already.
But we could, like, listen, man, we are tiny. But there has been a time where the dollar of Canada is 1-to-1 with the States.
the
So
dollar,
we've done it.
but our overall GDP and our resource output and everything else,
That's fine.
It's not close. So what I'm trying to say with all this, my argument here is that if Carney can leverage his relationships in Europe, and if he can build new ones across Asia and maybe other markets, if he can truly go against the liberal government common theme of anti-resource and be pro-resource and establish these like new deals and these new avenues, that would be a big win for him. That would be a big win for Canada if that can happen.
Yeah.
Like if we can start exporting our LNG across the seas to Korea, Japan, China, if we can start selling our gas to Europe, like, you know what I mean? If we can start doing some of that stuff, that would be good because that would take away some of the load and dependence that we have on the States.
a lot of the load. 75% of our domestic
I think it's
product.
unrealistic to just cut the States out. That makes no sense, honestly, because the other thing, too, is Trump's temporary.
I think it's going to be in between. I think Trump prefers Carney. He's stated it before.
Yeah, he did.
And I think with Carney there's going to be a little bit backlash from Trump initially. But then I think Trump is going into a spiral right now. And he doesn't know what he's getting himself into.
Wild.
He's got domestic countrymen, company owners that are going against him. He's going to war with not just one, but multi-million, billion-dollar corporations.
Yeah.
And it's going to bleed the Americans thin for a while. until it changes. Initially, he was going into this to reset the stock markets in favor of the states, but now you see countries pulling out from the central.
It blew up in his face.
It blew up in his face because people called his bluff.
Yep.
And this is what happens when you're I wouldn't say a TV personnel, but I would say a national TV personnel, but you're not a global leader.
Yeah.
Carney is top 100 global leader stated. So just all in all, I think it's gonna. Is that like that Tupac lyrics? It's a brighter day next day. You know what I'm saying? But for now, it's just interesting to see how these things go. I think Canada didn't pick wrong. I just think Carney's like one of these wartime heroes, but he's like a financial wartime hero.
I think honestly, he, like I said, it could just be the Paul Martin where he's in between Chrétien and the next guy, and that's all that he has to do.
Yeah, he all has to do that one next thing on the resume.
Yeah, then he's out.
Good to go. I just want to talk about one last thing.
Sure.
The fucking Lakers.
Oh,
what a fucking.
I was watching a really interesting reel where.
Yo, sip that, man. Let's do another cheers.
I have been.
Let's do another cheers here. My boy's getting engaged end of the month. Shout out.
A guy posted a reel about a very interesting rule change that happened in the offseason last year, and it started from last playoff season.
Right.
So what had happened was in an out of bounds play, like somebody went out of bounds and the other player took the ball and like hit it off his body to whatever.
Yeah.
That out of bounds call got reviewed because the coach was like, "Oh no, it was like the other guy." Okay, fine. There was a foul that happened in that play that the refs missed, but they couldn't call that foul because the challenge was on the out of bounds play. So their hands were tied. They couldn't do anything. They changed that rule in the offseason, and they made it so that if the refs spot a foul that they missed on a challenge play, they can call that foul.
That's crazy.
That happened in this Lakers game.
That's crazy.
So in this Lakers game, Ant, I forget who had the ball, and there was an out of bounds.
Yeah.
But it actually wasn't an out of bounds, and the coach already knew it, but he was challenging because there was a foul. So the challenge went the other way, and Lakers lost possession.
Well, my problem is this, is like LeBron's taking 3-pointers. Like, bro, you're 6'9", 250. You got Luka Doncic, better 3-point field goal percentage than you. Drive, make your... Bro, even if you have, like, let's say you got 25 drives in a game, and you only capitalize on 5 of those.
Yeah.
But you get the defense working. They're going to be on their heels the whole time thinking you're going to drive. And who are you? You are LeBron, my man. You are not some fucking, Devin Brook. You are LeBron James for the last 20-something years. James.
Yeah.
You've been on top for driving. Before Zion, like, you inspire guys like Zion. You inspire, like, Blake Griffins. And what are you doing? Pulling 3-point. He pulls 3-pointers, fadeaways.
Yeah.
You're not even that good at shooting, my man. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, I think he's trying to throw it away because, one, the longevity got to him. I honestly think my man's, he's 40 now, no?
He is
39?
40. I think he's 40 right now. I think he's 40.
I mean, 22 years in the league, bro. I mean, that does it to you. Like, you got millions in the bank.
A lot of minutes, dude. It's a lot of minutes.
You got miles on your knees. I mean, dude, the amount of miles this guy has, I don't even know if OF girls have these kind of dicks in their pussies. Jesus. Like, this guy has miles on his knees.
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying for? And this is the other thing, is like, let's say you do try, okay? How many more seasons you got in you? Maybe 2, and then the second one, you're like Kobe and the last one.
Yeah.
Where he's just like trash. Literally, people are just feeling bad for him, so they don't guard him.
You're just doing a farewell tour.
You're just doing a farewell tour.
Yeah.
So it's like, are you ever going to hit Jordan numbers where you got 6? Well, you can't even hit that even if you win the next 2, because he did 6 in a row and you didn't. So it's like, you can never hit that. So you're not going to be the greatest ever. You're going to be like, a longevity guy. And from a longevity guy, it's like, bro, this might be my last fucking season, or maybe last 1 of 2. Why am I breaking my back? And, worst case scenario, we go back at it next year. We got Luka. He's like 25, 26
Well,
years
like
old.
Luka can carry the entire regular season next year. Like, there's no need for LeBron to be pulling 40 minutes a game.
Not only that, but
Like-
like they need a serious. Like I've been saying this since I've been saying this since Kobe was playing. They need a serious center. Motherfuckers can't get a center to fucking Rob Pelinka's life is on the line.
Oh,
Like
man.
my man's center is trash every
I
year.
think they're anti-centers in the Lakers.
Bro, they had Andrew Bynum for like 7 years. Motherfucker was garbage, and they were training him to be a center. And it's just like, bro, why did you get Davis in the first place?
Who was the last great Lakers center?
Kareem the Dream.
Shut up.
Shaq, maybe, but Shaq
What
can't
do you
shoot
mean
for
maybe?
shit.
Shaq was what's one of the greatest centers ever.
Okay, but he can't shoot for shit.
He is not
In
suppo-
playoff or in real life.
You're not supposed to shoot back in those days.
No. But you can't, like, okay. I would say a better center meant for the Lakers,
Oh,
how they
okay.
play, is like a Jokic. The reason is because...
Oh, this guy says Jokic. Motherfucking, like, first ballot MVP out here.
No. But
Jokic.
hold on, relax.
I think, hey, so like, you know, I've been watching the Lakers play, and I
It's
think
not
they
because
need
he
Jokic.
scores.
Get the
It's
fuck
not.
outta
It's
here.
not because he scores or anything. It's because he's a good passer.
He's the best passing center of all time.
Okay.
All time. It's not even close.
I don't think you ever watched Hakeem the Dream.
Dog, it's not even close.
No, but Hakeem the Dream was. I'm telling you,
Hakeem the Dream-
We would have to see Jokic much further to have this argument.
Hakeem was an amazing center. He was one of the greatest things I ever think that he did for the league was he showed that a center can actually like pivot and shoot. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he just showed that because
It's
before
because of those guys that Jokic is
before
here.
like in the Bill Walton era, it's like pass the ball just like
yeah. Yeah.
and then soon guys figure that out. You're like, okay, if that's all you're gonna do, man, I'm just gonna.
And
guard.
another thing people don't understand is like I've seen a lot of basketball in my days, but one thing I want to make sure everybody knows: if you play in Europe and you're a small forward,
yeah.
you're gonna have a post game because that's how Europe
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
Europe, you have post game.
Europe plays like the Olympics. If you watch Olympics, like FIBA play, they play a lot like that.
If you go to Philippines, you're just gonna be like a small shooting guard, point guard, like point guard to center. That's how you play.
Yeah.
But the reason Jokic plays like that is because everybody who's a small forward to a center in Europe leagues plays like actually has a post game. There's guys that are small forwards in Europe that do hook shots.
yeah.
That's the game.
Who came from that? Wasn't it Boya who came like that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of guys
Yeah,
do that.
yeah.
They're good shooters from Europe.
Yeah.
They don't have the best ball handling, but they got good posts and they got good shots,
Mm-hmm.
and they're fundamentally really good and really dirty.
Mm-hmm.
That's how they are in Europe. But that's what I was saying. It's not because of Jokic, but it's like who passes well,
Hmm.
right? You got to get a good passer for a center as the Lakers.
How do you think James would play as a center
LeBron James,
at this point in his career? Think it's doable?
if he grew,
he-
or what are we talking about here?
would break his leg.
Motherfucker's
extended-
too short.
No, I know.
If he, I think he'd be way too soft.
Too small, hey?
Because he's so used to people giving him calls. There's just no
Yeah.
fucking way he
Yeah.
can bang it. Like, bro, if you want to play like,
Because LeBron is such a good passer.
it's not that. It's that he can't defend those guys,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah. Like how's he even gonna guard like
dude,
even
they're
like
just,
a Zubats? Like,
bro, they're way bigger than
Yeah,
him.
I
Like,
know.
we think 6'9", 250 is
No,
like big.
no, dude.
It's like, bro, 6'8", 250 is equivalent to a guy who is 6 foot,
Yeah.
195.
yeah.
Do I ever look at a 195 guy who's jacked,
Yeah.
ripped out of his mind, being like, that guy's big? No, I look at
Yeah.
that guy, I'm like, he looks good,
Yeah.
but he looks natural.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Some of these centers, bro, like Shaq, if you look at
No,
Shaq's
Shaq was the
ratio,
exception. Shaq was the exception.
is,
Shaq was
no, but
ridiculous.
even Jokic is a fucking exception.
Jokic is big.
Jokic is big, bro.
Jokic's a
He's
big dude.
7 feet tall. He's fucking 290.
No, he's like honestly, yeah, that's about the average. You got Jokic, Zubats is there.
No, but he's not even 290, Hector. You
Who's
got to
the other
understand
one?
that.
Who's I'm trying to think of some like
Doug,
centers in my head.
Doug.
What?
Zion
No, Zion's
stepped on this-
280, 6'8", 280. That's
but hold
retarded,
on,
man.
But hold on. Let me explain one thing, okay? Jokic is more than 290. These are like feathered numbers.
oh, Okay, if we're just
Let me explain something.
We're just gonna ignore the build numbers.
No,
well,
no,
we can't. We can't
this
use
is
them
why.
then.
This is why I have
can't
a
use
picture.
them.
I'm gonna post a picture with me, Ater, and Steve Nash at 3D basketball.
Okay.
Okay. I am not 6'3". You know this.
Yes.
Okay. Steve Nash is listed 6'3". I have another picture with the name forgets me, but anyway, we are not 6'3". We are the same height as Steve Nash. So what I'm trying to explain to you is I've met other guys from the NBA. Some of them actual stats, like the guy is actually 6'8", but some of them infiltrated as fuck. Steve Nash is not 6'3", my man.
This is like wrestling. In wrestling, all the numbers are all fuck.
This is what my point is like that's it is like that.
What do they list Steve Nash as? I wonder.
6'3".
I bet you they like changed it now because people like exposed them. Steve Nash.
I don't think so.
And Mike Tyson was another one. People like were thrown off at Mike.
You were saying he's 6 feet.
Schwarzenegger was another one. His height, people always.
Mike Tyson, people said he was 6 feet.
He's 5'11".
He's 5'9".
Is he 5'9"?
He's 5'9".
Steve Nash, NBA height. Let's see what Steve Nash comes up as.
6'3".
Yeah.
Yeah. He's not 6'3".
191. Damn, dude.
He's not. That's what I'm saying. And it's not just him.
Yeah.
It's like there's a lot of guys like that, and that's the problem. Is like I don't think if you look at guys like Jokic has fights before, right? Yeah. And like people
I think the only numbers you can truly trust are the ones drafted because of the combine.
Yeah, that makes
sense.
So
like someone like a Zion, I'm like, all right, you're fucking scale says 280, you're fucking 280.
Yeah,
so it's like I don't know unless you want to go on my fucking Renfo scale at home.
Have you ever seen a picture of Zion beside Jokic? Jokic towers.
Well, I know he's tall.
Not only in height, but in also in thickness.
No, but Zion's got that bone density.
Okay, no, but he's a black. That's why. He's black. Okay, my point is Jokic is at least 340, 350.
340? Get the fuck out of here, dog. Easy. You know how heavy 340 is?
But my man's
Shaq was not 340 as peak.
Shaq was 350.
No, he was 315 or some bullshit.
No, Shaq was 350.
Let's see. The problem is Shaq like fluctuated. Like Orlando Shaq, fucking prime,
bro.
Like mint.
Hold on.
And then Lakers Shaq was like
Celtics Shaq, 380.
Celtics Shaq was like Big Baby, like Celtics. Like Big Baby was fucking heavy,
but in that ratio, but at 7'1".
Yeah, I know. How tall is Big Baby? He was like what?
Big Baby 6'6".
8?
6'6".
Really?
Yeah, he was a small power forward.
Damn. Kendrick was taller than Perkins.
Oh yeah, Perkins was way taller.
Okay.
Perkins was upper body heavy though. He had a weird build.
Let's see. Shaq weight at the Lakers. 147 kg, which is 325.
That's infiltrated.
That was Lakers.
That's infiltrated. my man's hitting 350. My man.
Oh my god.
Think about it. A long weekend with Shaq.
What the fuck?
Chicken wings, strippers.
Oh, that's where you're going. I'm like, what do you mean a long weekend with Shaq?
Shaq just looks like he can eat.
No, I know, but you said long weekend.
Like, long weekend with Shaq. You're his teammate.
Yeah.
You're hanging out.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, what do we do? We got millions in the bank. What do we do? Chicken wings, watermelon, fucking strippers.
You just described Harden on a long weekend.
Harden is pretty fat for a small forward.
Yeah, he is.
Or very fat. He's
no. But although he's got those kind of like weird like black ball guys perform. He's got like the tiny ass legs.
Tiny.
But he's got like, you know what I mean? Like he's got those weird ass like it's weird.
It's the shitty black gene.
It's weird.
It's the shitty black.
It's weird.
The shitty black gene is like your arms and limbs. Are very thin.
Yeah.
And then you have like I want to call it the Zimbabwe gut. You just have just a little bit of a gut. You drive a taxi. That's what James Harden looks like.
Yeah, dude. You described it perfectly.
It's just I've seen a lot of those cats, a lot of those characters in San Diego.
Yeah.
But he's from Somalia. Mm-hmm. Came over here to be the captain now.
Yeah.
But suddenly he just got a gut and hopes and dreams, man.
Jesus.
You got any last words?
Never forget your dreams, for without your dreams, you are not a man.
Attaboy. All right, we're out.